What's up, Buttercup? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nicole, and today's video is my April 2025 reading wrap up. I read 8 books and I DNF'd 1 book. We are going from the first book that I finished in April all the way to the very end, like April 30th at 10:50 something p.m. I cut it very close, but it still counts. The first book that I read in April was for the Messed Up Book Club, Along the River of Flesh by Christopher Triana, and that's 4 stars. And I did a book review on that if you're interested in something more in depth. There were 2 things that really held me back from giving it 5 stars, but the Gone to See the Riverman extreme horror duology, definitely recommend. Well, if you can handle that, because it's well, it's extreme horror. Okay, caution going into that duology, or just really anything Christopher writes, and that's not a dig at him because he writes extreme horror, so that's actually a compliment. Number 2, Without a Doubt by Marcia Clark. I read but did not rate it, but I enjoyed it. I was going to do a book review on this, and then I could not find any book review except like overviews from Marcia's publisher and interviews of Marcia, which was really bizarre. And then I watched O.J. Simpson's trial through The Casual Criminalist, which I love Simon and that channel, so I'll link that OJ overview from Casual Criminalist, that's a mouthful for me, down in the description box below. It's over 2 hours. And within a minute, Simon said with his writers, because he employs writers, love to see that, that many of the people involved in this trial, probably not Marcia Clark, but a lot of people are very into suing others, and I don't have the damn money for that over a book review. And it's not that I think Marcia would, it's the other people, and I don't know how many, but Simon was like, it's kind of a problem. So that's really intense, and I don't need that in my life ever at all. I enjoyed this book, and that's all I'm gonna say, because I'm not interested in being sued by one or multiple lawyers, even if they're not actively working. No thank you. The third book I read was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, 4 stars, and there were a couple of reasons why I didn't give it 5 stars, but I go into that in depth in my book review that I did for this prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. Go check that out if you're interested. Number 4, Queen of Oak by Melanie Karsak. I read it but did not rate it. This was a tough time for me because I was dealing with possibly being laid off at any given moment, and then my husband was dealing with basically the same thing as I was reading this book. That complete and utter stress. Like, I was trying not to have a mental breakdown every single day for a good solid 2 weeks, okay? I think that clouded that book, so it is not that book's fault, and it's not the writer's fault. It's no one's fault. I'm not even gonna say it's my fault. It's not. It's just a really shitty time. It was a shitty month. So I did not rate it. I read it. I don't know if I'm gonna go read the other 2 books. And because of that really high stress that did not let up for quite some time, and the lack of sleep, it attached itself to that book, and that's not fair at all. If I rated it, I think that would actually be like a little unethical. So, in my personal hot take opinion. So yeah, that's why I didn't rate it. But if you're into Boudica and historical fantasy, definitely check out Queen of Oak. Number 5, this is the DNF, Solenoid by Marcia Cartarescu. There are too many R's in those 2 names, and it's really damn hard to roll my R's with C's and A's and all that stuff. I'm so sorry. I was bored, and that's not great considering it is like a autobiography. So I did not rate it. I DNF'd it within 4 chapters, and it's an 800-page book. I was just not going to do that to myself. And I didn't want to break my friend Patrick's heart because he sent it to me, but like that was over a year ago. And then he learned more of my taste, and he was like, you're probably not gonna like this book. And I'm like, I'll give it a try because you bought it for me. Yeah, no, I had to give up on that. Sorry, Patrick. But not for 800 pages. Sorry. Just not for me. Number 6, Scenes from My Life by Michael K. Williams. I read this memoir, but I did not rate it because I don't rate memoirs because that just feels odd to me. He unfortunately passed away from overdose a few years ago, and I just really admire what Michael K. Williams had accomplished even when he struggled heavily with addiction, and it's just sad to see. So I do recommend this memoir, but do keep in mind it's very, very heavy, and he unfortunately passed away from overdose before this memoir came out. But then his co-writer or like ghostwriter, he finished it. It's not a memoir that was published without consent. It was published with consent. Number 7, Houston Mass Murders, 1973, a true crime narrative by Barbara Gibson. I read it, but I did not rate it due to its content. This is about Dean Corll, Elmer Wayne Henley Jr., and David Brooks. Dean Corll is known as the Candy Man. He's not that well known. I don't even know why, because he killed a lot of young men and did horrible shit to them. But I think maybe because he was killed and then there was not a trial of him. That's a weird thing. Like, how many? I think he killed over 20. I lost count. Like 20 to 28 young boys. Yeah, he was nicknamed the Candy Man because he gave out candy to children all the time. Yeah, so I obviously did not rate this due to the content and did not feel comfortable rating it whatsoever. I also then watched Simon on the Casual Criminalist because he did a, was it like 2.5 hour rundown of the Candyman and everything that happened. So that will also be linked down below if you're interested. Number 8, They All Died Screaming by Christopher Triana. I read it but did not rate it because I don't know. That was not up to par with the other 3 books that I read by Christopher. I could not figure out a star rating. And if I go 5 minutes contemplating, I'm not going to rate it because kind of waste of one's time. I think the book needed to be fleshed out a little bit more. The ending was a little bit abrupt. And there were some things where it's like Anatomy 101. I don't know. I don't know there. And number 9, The Facemaker by Lindsay Fitzharris, 5 stars. This is a nonfiction book about Dr. Gillies. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. It's not Dr. Giles because it's spelled Gillies. Gillies. Is that Gills? Or Giles. Okay, look, I'm going to have to look that up before I do a book review on that. Obviously. Just to make sure. But he and his team during the Great World War really ramped up plastic surgery because that was the First World War where technology boomed and they were terrible injuries during this time to the face. And even still today, but especially back then, facial injuries, missing half of your jaw, missing your eye or eyes, no ear, scars, like, it was terrifying in the Great War era and afterwards. And, you know, we can say, oh, we're more open. We are, but not that much, not that much. So during this time, Dr. Gillies was really invested in reconstruction facial surgery, so these men that came back injured could live a somewhat normal life, if not, depending on the situation and the individual wounds, could live a normal life and walk around without being harassed. I have to think deeply on the face maker. I'm for sure going to write out a bunch of notes and probably even a script because it's very intense. I love to see it and I don't want to get anything wrong. Very heavy on the historical aspects, of course. Lindsay is a great writer, so I expect nothing less, and I want to get that review correct. Thank you so much for watching my reading wrap up for April 2025. I will see you in the next video. Read, write, do whatever you need to do for self-care. Bye.